But what would I wear? The Grinch who stole Christmas is here. But what would I wear? The stress of Christmas, the stress of life. I just don't know how I can cope with it. I don't know what I could wear. The Christmas is coming, and I don't even need any clothing because I am the Grinch. I'm covered with fur. Christmas is coming, so let's get it on like Donkey Kong. The Grinch is here, so let's get it on like what is going on? Are we live or are we not live? I think we're live. Let's get it on. The stress is just too much for me. I just don't know how I can handle it because the Grinch Christmas is coming and I'm going to steal it. But the stress of Christmas is just too much for me, the Grinch. How can I handle the stress of Christmas? I just don't know. But what would I wear? What would I wear? What would I dare for Christmas? So let's get it on like Donkey Kong.
Todd is not only a remarkable, successful 30-year titan in business with having multiple businesses that generate multiplied millions of dollars.
And if that plan happens to be to build $1 million company, which I can help you do.
But he's humble. He's a man of God. He's a family man.
The world's news organizations are built on everything but positivity.
He is an influential entrepreneur and business speaker for over 30 years.
I've got to forecast. I've got to pronounce. I've got to project. I've got to share with you my ideas, my vision, my goals for not only myself, but for you.
That's why he's came up with his incredible concept of taking and creating a platform for people that are wired differently.
And you got to understand that your habits of your person and your habits of your business and your habits of your spirituality have to lead to the North Star of who you are. We need to figure out who we want to be in life.
Oh, yes, it's the Grinch on Tuesday morning, the Grinch. Well, listen, I just want to share you. This is Podcast Todd. Listen, I went on a little bit earlier this morning, and I got to talk with some people, and we had some fun, and I said I had a surprise for you, and it's all like Donkey Kong, but it's not. Todd, it's not. They said, we want to talk to the regular Todd. We don't want the Podcast Todd, so I came out as the Grinch. But I thought, like, what better way for me to actually talk to you about this idea of stress, this idea of Christmas, this idea of like what's going on in our life? How are we supposed to cope? I think that you need to understand that technically I am the Grinch. This mask doesn't make me the Grinch. I'm just kind of the Grinch by default. The story I have for you this morning is literally just a story of the stress in my own life, because we're talking about stress. And like, I can't think of a more stressful time of life than Christmas. Like Christmas drives, I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm going to share with you that I am not a very good Christmas dude. I do not get excited about Christmas. I mean, like I'm stressed out, I think, from the time of a child trying to understand what is the gift I'm going to get, or how am I going to be satisfied as a little child if we were going to gifts at all, and what they were going to look like and how they were going to be. And I just remember wanting a bicycle so bad one Christmas and it didn't come. unfortunately, it's just a negative way to look at things. But at the end of the day, I do remember that. And then maybe the following Christmas, I ended up getting a bike. And so I'm just so grateful for my parents for that. But I remember getting a light bright once when I wanted some like a vertibird gun shooting game, right? Like, so, I mean, the Christmas stress of Santa like creeping in my house and leaving. The only thing more creepy than Santa to me was the tooth fairy, to be honest. The tooth fairy was just like, dude, the tooth fairy, like Santa was jolly, but the tooth fairy, that chick, man, why is she in my house? Why is she floating in the air with little hummingbird wings? And Santa's not reaching under my pillow. Nope, Santa's got enough moxie to stay in the living room, get his cookies, take a swig of the milk, drop off some gifts, and get on down the road. He's got stuff to do. But no, the tooth fairy, she's coming in. She's coming in hard, and she's buzzing around. She's playing under my pillow. I don't know what she's got to do the rest of the night. Like she's I'm saying a she because I think the tooth fairy's a chick. A guy wouldn't take that job. The Grinch wouldn't take that job. He'd never take that job. But the whole idea of Christmas, the whole idea of the Grinch, the whole idea of all of this is just wearing me out. And so what happens to me at Christmas is by default, I get stressed out. I don't know if I can keep it up. I don't know if I can make everybody happy. I don't know if I can get everybody's gifts right. I honestly, for the first half of my life, I didn't even know where I was going to get money to pay for the presents. I mean, that's the most stressful piece for me. And I just don't. So that's why I turn into the Grinch. That's why I'm like I think that this is a situation where the Grinch comes out and it's my default mechanism and it's how I deal with stress. I'm like, last night I come home and it's like 7:30, almost 8 o'clock at night. I work all day. I do start off with the show in the morning. I work all day, emails, texting, do everybody, a lot of people on the show right now understand what goes on in my life and they talk with me often. So I go to the gym, I get home, let's call it 8 o'clock, 7:55 or something like that. And my wife is home finally. She's here with the kids and she's like, get the Christmas tree out. I'm like, really, babe? At 8 o'clock at night, I got a shower, I got all. We got to do Christmas. We have to do Christmas. Do we really have to do Christmas? I mean, what are the rules? Do you really, the Grinch would say, do you really have to do Christmas? I mean, isn't it just a non-necessary thing? Aren't you just stressing out? It stresses the Grinch out. Why would he do Christmas? It stresses me out, but what would I wear? See, the Grinch, he got stressed out when they asked him to go to some Christmas function, and he would say, what would I wear? I mean, we talk about Matthew 6:25. Don't worry about your clothes, Grinch. Don't worry about your food. Don't worry about how people look. Look, you got God, don't you, Grinch? Grinch? You got God, don't you, Grinch? Who's God? Well, stress is a byproduct of basically not believing in God, but we have God to remove the stress, Grinch. If you had some God in your life, right? Grinch? Do you have God in your life, Grinch? I do not have God in my life. Well, why not? Because it doesn't make sense to the Grinch. My job is to steal Christmas. And Christmas talks about Jesus. Jesus. So you know of Jesus, Grinch? Of course I know of Jesus. What do you know about Jesus, Grinch? I know that Jesus is a story in a Bible. I know that he's a real person, but I'm just not sure that he's the Messiah. This Advent day of the year of Christmas is to celebrate the truth that Jesus came in the Advent and is the Messiah. And so my job is to steal Christmas. I don't think people should have Christmas. I don't want their joy. I'm stressed out, so I will ruin their Christmas and to steal the donut capital of the world. Now, Grinch, you're going a little too far. I think Christmas is one thing, but to take on the donut capital of the world is a whole nother situation. I mean, don't you think you should just stick to one dumb thing at a time? I take particular offense to your ridicule of my attitudinal disorder. Well, Grinch, I want you to know Jesus Christ. I want you to know that he died on the cross and he was buried and arose 3 days later and he ascended to heaven and came back and showed himself again and was here for as many as 40 days and walked this earth and performed miracles. Jesus is a real person. He did die on the cross and he did rise again. And he promised that any of us that accept him into our hearts, right? Accept him into our hearts, we will have everlasting life, right? Not just here on the earth, not just Christmas like once a year, but we would have Christmas every day because we'd have joy in our hearts and we would have this idea of how to relieve stress. What do you think about that, Grinch? I think it's still debatable, but I'm open to the conversation. Thank you, Grinch. Well, there we have it. The Grinch is open to the conversation. So let's talk about why the Grinch has such a stressful idea. 1 John 4:15 said, God lives in those who declare that Jesus is the Son of God and they live in God. So here's the thing that I'm trying to convince the Grinch of and convince you of this morning. And we're going to talk about strengths 15 minutes into this dialogue is that not only are we accepting Christ into our heart, but once we have that done, 1 John 4:15 says now we are actually in God's life, in God's heart, in God's mind, in God's soul. It's a two-way street, Grinch. And I think the Grinch needs to know it. I think you need to know it. So I just want to talk to these people today, Grinch. I want to talk to them about the 5 immediate stress reliefs now. And I just want to understand how the Grinch works. And I thought maybe that we could actually show a video of the Grinch and pull him in. And we could actually do a change here and see why the Grinch is so stressed out, right? See what is going on with the Grinch. So let's see what we got here. Can everybody see that the Grinch is on? And let's play the Grinch.
Now for those hoots inviting me down there on such short notice. Even if I wanted to go, my schedule wouldn't allow it. 4 o'clock.
Schedule wouldn't allow it.
4:30. Stare into the abyss.
Stare into the
solve
abyss.
world hunger. Tell no one. 5:30. Jazzercise.
5:30.
Dinner with me.
Jazzercise.
I cancel that again. 7 o'clock. Wrestle with my self-loathing. I'm booked. Of course, if I bump the loathing to 9, I could still be done in time to lay in bed, stare at the ceiling, and slip slowly into madness. But what would I wear?
But what would I wear? Oh, man.
It's not a dress, it's a kilt. Sicko. Stupid. Ugly. Out of date. This is ridiculous. If I can't find something nice to wear, I'm not going.
If I can't find anything to wear, I'm not going. The stress of it all.
Ooh. Ah.
Oh,
That's it. I'm
no.
not going.
The stress of it all. The Grinch who stole Christmas. We all have a little Grinch in us. I have a lot of Grinch in me, and it's the stress of it all. It's the stress of it all. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed a little fun of the Grinch, but I really wanted to share Podcast Todd with you this morning. I went on live this morning and just hung out with some people, and we just did some chatting, and we talked about stress and life and Christmas, and I had the non-podcast cadence or rhythm on. But this morning, man, I'm super excited. You know, my job is to love you. My job is to encourage you. My job is to build you. My job is to actually make you better. I mean, ultimately, if that's what I'm doing, that's what I'm supposed to do. That's what I'm called to do. This whole Wired Differently movement, this whole Wired Differently mindset, mission, and ministry, man, it's for you. And you know what? It's helping me. Every morning, the discipline of getting up and putting the show together and thinking about what can I say and actually having some fun and entertaining you is like so much fun to me. But I wanted to actually cut through it today because I really wanted to take care of stress for you today. I want stress gone from your life. I want stress to be a byproduct of the past. I want you to understand that although we always are probably going to have a version of stress in our life, like the Grinch, because stress turns us into the Grinch. That's why the Grinch is the Grinch, because he's stressed. He's not keeping up. He's not like the rest of the Whoville people. He's not like the rest of the world. He wants to be like that. He wants to be of what he thinks the world's supposed to be like. So he recoils into this defensive moment for, well, if I can't have it, then I might as well ruin it for everybody else. But see, the Grinch, on the other hand, I want you to understand about the story of the Grinch. Why I really do adore the Grinch is because he's really more like all of us than we care to really share or to admit. The Grinch didn't like the Whoville. Why? Because they were happy. The Grinch didn't like Santa Claus. Why? Because he made other people happy. The Grinch didn't like anybody in the area of Whoville that were even thinking about Christmas. Why? Because it was joyful. He didn't like successful people. He didn't like happy people. He didn't like joyful people. Therefore, he did not like Whoville. You see, this Grinch is immersed in stress. He lives alone in a cave. His only friend is a dog. He doesn't know what to wear. Isn't that really the entire explanation of what causes stress? We just don't know what to wear. But what would I wear? This idea of actually considering being a better person, this idea of actually going out and helping other people, this idea of building yourself personally, this idea of like literally accepting Christ into your heart and accepting God as your Lord and Savior, right? But what would I wear? But what would I wear to the church? But what would I wear to the ball? But what would I wear? What would I wear? What would I dare? What would I be? How can I be this? How can I actually come out? How can I literally be unstressed? How can I not be who I am, but become someone else who is stress-free, someone who else is carefree, someone else has got it figured out, maybe like those other Christians over there that are seemingly happy, but what would I I wear? The Grinch says so delightfully so, but what would I wear? I would consider being that God-driven person, but what would I wear? Stress. Stress is the killer. Stress is the thing that brings us down. Stress is the one that keeps us in fear. Stress is the one that puts us in a spot where we can't expand. Stress is the one that's burning us up, not burning us bright, right? So stress is this thing, and I know it's a monologue, dialogue, diatribe, whatever you want to talk about. We talked about yesterday that 16% of all those people that are stressed out have harmed themselves. We also learned that 32% have had suicide thoughts of those that have chronic stress. 16% of people that have reoccurring stress have actually harmed themselves in actions of stupidity and maybe even self-infliction. And then 32% of those that have chronic stress have actually thought about suicide, right? Have thought about like the hopelessness of it. And 37% of all those stressed out, chronic stressed out people have are literally feeling lonely. Come on, man. The loneliest dude in the planet is the Grinch. The Grinch is a mess. I mean, honestly, this whole show had nothing to do with the Grinch. I literally, in the last 3 minutes, after talking to everybody in the morning, went up to my bedroom, grabbed the mask, came down, got all these notes, and they don't mean a damn thing right now because I'm on a whole nother story. I had a conversation with the Grinch, and I had to give him the gospel because I've never witnessed to the Grinch. I'm like, has anybody ever witnessed to the Grinch? I may very well be the only person in the entire planet to witness to the Grinch. Put that in another Wired Differently world first. I did it. I witnessed to the Grinch. Have you ever thought about witnessing to the Grinch or a person? Have you ever thought about witnessing? Have you ever thought about helping someone with their stress? Have you ever thought about, let's just focus on you right now. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. So here's a lot going on right now. We got yesterday's verse of Matthew 6:25 that says, stop worrying. We can't even get to you feeling better. See, you need to deal with stress before we start anything else today, Todd. So just change the entire show pro catalog for the rest of the week, and let's deal with the birds that they don't worry. I've always taken care of them. Todd, you got to stop worrying. You're the Grinch. The Grinch worries. The Grinch is stressed out. The rest of you got to get unstressed, right? Let's talk about stress before we get to helping your life burn bright versus burning out in these 5 areas: nutrition, rest, exercise, family, records. I may never even get to them because I'm stuck on stress. I'm stuck on the Grinch. I'm stuck on you. I am stuck on you. I cannot get unstuck on you. I love you. I care about you. I want to inspire you. I want to encourage you. I want you to know that I'm willing to actually just be ridiculous to make a point for you. So this morning, in the last 7 minutes, as we run long again, I want to talk to you about the 5 steps of relieving stress in your life immediately. Now, the Grinch, I don't know if he's going to listen, but I literally witnessed to him. I actually had a conversation with him. I think he's a genuine dude, because the most beautiful piece about the Grinch, what I'm most attracted to about the Grinch, to be honest with you, is at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, the Grinch saves the day. You see, the Grinch comes around. He comes around and he says, listen, you know what? I'm removing the stress. I'm accepting Santa Claus as an awesome person. I'm accepting Santa Claus as this person who can bring joy and happiness. And I just want to actually make sure that you understand that the way I read it, the way I see it, that Santa Claus is a metaphor for joy. And we all know what true joy is, and that's Jesus. And I really believe that I think the Grinch this morning accepted Jesus Christ into his heart, and he understands that Santa Claus is a metaphor for the joy that Christ does bring, because Christmas is the celebration of Jesus Christ, the birth of Jesus Christ, the Messiah, the actual advent, the calling, the coming of the prophesied word that the Messiah was coming. Jesus is the Messiah. He was born of the Virgin Mary, and it is fact. And this is Advent season. This is the season where we admit that Christ is the Messiah. He was born of the Virgin Mary, and the whole story is true. In step one, before we can get to my 5 personal growth steps of removing stress in your life right now, I want you to write these down. Hopefully Terry's still on this morning. She's going to come on and help us out. I just want you to understand that the Grinch, is real. I mean, you see he's a cartoon, but he's really real. He's in me. He's in you. He's in everybody. We kind of have these negative thoughts. We just want to, the Grinch is just only one brave enough to live it out in a cartoon fashion and literally say, hey, I'm the Grinch, man. I don't want you successful. I don't want you to be happy. I'm miserable. You're miserable. I'm going to make like a piece of us really isn't always rooting for the neighbor, right? I just got to be honest with you. I'm calling me your Barnabas. I truly do love you, Lindsay and Ezra and Heather and everybody out there. But I want you to understand that sometimes I'm just not rooting for the outside all the time. And that's all the Grinch was doing, was just saying, man, I'm not rooting for all you. I'm miserable. Sometimes I'm miserable and my mind can't think. And I want you to understand that you have a microcosm in your brain that is the Grinch. I want you to pull out of it. I want to encourage you. The Grinch came out of it. You need to come out of it. And here's what we got. Listen, I'm gonna lay these down, and tomorrow we're gonna crush them. We're gonna crush them. 5 immediate steps, because I want you today to start to remove stress. So the first thing I want you to understand is I want you to admit, that you have an inner Grinch. I want you to admit that you have the Grinch in you, and you're not happy with yourself all the time. And sometimes it manifests itself as a Grinch. See, the Grinch is not happy with himself, and you're not happy with yourself all the time. And what happens is you start to look at other people in a sad, different, destructive way. But the Grinch comes back around. I need you to come back around. I need you to say, Grinch, be gone. I want my Christ life. I want my Christ attitude. I want my joyful attitude. And the way we need to do that is we need to remove the stress. We need to remove the pieces in our life that are bothering us. We need to remove the pieces or fix the pieces that are causing us so many challenges, right? And so here's what I want you to do. Terry, I think you're on here. Anyone, man, lots of followers this morning. So here's what I want you to do. Here are the 5 steps we're going to take down tomorrow. We're going to take on like nobody's business. I'm going to make one announcement right now that I'm super excited about. I'm going to take these 5 out. I have just booked a 4-day stint with Salem Media on the drive time, if you will, 3-hour radio show for the following week after Christmas. I'm going to be filling in for the legend Bill Bunkley, and he is an amazing, almost 20-year radio host there. He's taken some time off, and I'm going to be filling in for him for 3 hours for the entire week. I'm going to have you guys on there supporting me. We're going to be hitting all of Florida, 6 radio stations, lots of coverage, AM, FM. It's going to be a blast, so I'm super excited about that. But this is what I'm more excited about for you right now. 5 immediate steps to relieve stress now. Like, when we're done, I hang up the phone, I'm done with this stream, and we move on this morning, right? I want you to know for tomorrow, your homework is what number 1 on this is going to be. So here's the 5 immediate steps to relieve stress from you now. Now, this isn't something that I read. This is something I'm writing. I'm giving to you because I'm guaranteeing you your life is going to change. Number 1 out of the 5 steps to remove and relieve stress from your life immediately is number 1, I want you to understand what is causing it. That's all I need you to do. Number 1, What is causing it? What is the stress? What is causing it? Is it finances? Is it marriage? Is it relationships? Is it an illness? Is it what is causing the stress? You're feeling the stress. Number one, what is causing it? Right? What is causing it? Come on now, somebody. Number two, I want you to imagine if it was gone in your life. I want you to imagine what would life be if that stress was gone? What would life be for the Grinch once he figures out what he would wear? Oh, what would I wear, the Grinch? Once you figure out what you can wear, right? What is causing it? What would it be like if it was gone? How would you feel if it was gone? How would you be if it was gone? And number three, what or who can fix it? Number three, what or who can fix it? It's the simplest 5-step thing to change your life it could ever give you. And number four, create a plan. Figure out what's causing the problem. Imagine life without it. Create the plan, right? I'm sorry. Imagine life without it, number two. And number three, who or what can fix it? Now create the plan. Number four, now create the plan, right? And now number five, we're going to take this thing out. Number five. Number five. Here we go. Number five, implement. Implement it. Implement it. Do it now. Do it now. 5 steps we're going to talk about tomorrow. What is causing the stress? 2, imagine life without it. 3, what or who can fix it? 4, create the plan. And 5, execute, implement it. Do it now. Do it right now. Do it right damn now. I want you to do this exercise this morning. If only one thing this morning, think about what is causing the stress. I know in my life that the most discouraging thing in my life has been one thing. On a reoccurring basis, I have continued to stretch myself financially, and I hate it. And unfortunately, it's one of the things that has put me in a place of success in some regards, but I want to talk to you about this tomorrow because I got to understand, I got you to have to understand that not only is God in me, that we are in God, and there is a duality thing going on here, and I think you need to understand that we're putting ourselves in positions of stress that we don't need to do, that we can't do. God is not happy about it. We're not happy about it, which creates stress. Where is that line of stress? We're going to talk about stress, the good stress, and all the other bad pieces of stress, but we're going to nail it tomorrow. You got this. I think if you just do one thing for me today, I'm talking to you right now. You are my friends. You are my followers. You are my supporters. I love you. I hope that you care about me. I know that you do. I want you to just one thing tonight. You're going to feel better about this if you just say, what is my stress? Focus on one thing that's causing you stress. And tomorrow, we're going to work on it. Tomorrow, we're going to nail it. Tomorrow, we're going to go through these 5 steps. Tomorrow, the Grinch will be gone. What a great day. I love you. I love you. I love you. Let's get it out. Let's make it happen. Let's do this thing called life. Wired differently.